Dear Gahd! Welcome to our Advice Column podcast. I am your motivational monster, Selma Gahd.
And I am everybody's favorite unofficial auntie, Gahd.
And yes, this is an advice column where you, the audience, get to write in and we answer your questions, your queries, your doubts, your uncertainties with our best advice. If you're tuning in auditorily only, I'm just going to let you know we're two fabulous drag queens here in a ball pit. In a Montreal-themed ball pit at Le Same Hotel. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But on today's episode, Uma, what do we have for you?
On today's episode, we are going to be talking about the same thing 3 times.
Oh. Wait, what? I was very excited. And my brain went, wait, what did you just say?
So today we're going to be talking about imposter syndrome, lying, and also being right.
Okay, I see it.
I chose these because I felt like they fit together thematically.
They absolutely do. Okay, so the way we do this podcast is that we serve you everything in a nice little packaged meal, a luxurious packaged meal.
A 3-course meal.
A 3-course meal. It's not just a trio at the takeout window. Wait, the Americans don't say a trio, they say a combo.
Is that a Canadian thing?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, every time I went to the States, but my mom lived in the States for a while, and I would go there and I'd say a trio, and they look at me like...
Keep in mind, she didn't look like this when she did it. So
well,
like
maybe.
the face that they were making made less sense.
So yes, we are going to serve you that in a 3-course meal. But before we get to the meat and potatoes and the dessert and all the fantastic things we're going to serve you, how are you, Uma?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's a little... See, I think that a lot of people... There's this thing on the internet right now, for the last whoever knows how long, where people are like, oh, I don't like small talk. It's so meaningless. And, you know, because when you say, how are you? You're just supposed to say, I'm good, thanks, how are you? You're not supposed to be honest. And so why bother and all this... I'm being honest.
But also, like... Yeah, when a cashier asks you at the store, you're not going to like be like, my life is... Well, some people might, but I'm just... There's a social convention happening there. But you and I, on our podcast with our listeners...
I do think that even then you're allowed to say like, oh, the day is going terrible. But I'm just here to pick up a few things and then you get out. You don't need to unload like emotionally onto this stranger.
Who's getting paid minimum wage.
Yeah, no, that's not what I'm saying. But, you know, you asked me how he's doing and I could have just said... You know, like, oh, yeah, good, how are you? But no, I reflected, and I wanted to be, but things are going good.
You reflected, but you did not deflect.
Wow.
Yep, she was being honest and truthful.
I was, because, you know what, I am doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Ooh.
I'm doing fantastic because I'm literally living my dream. Like, I know it's like, listen.
Escúchame. Écoute.
You grow up. No, but this is going to be a small, serious little moment. Okay? Growing up, you are told your whole life that you need to achieve things. You need to accomplish things. You need to, what are you going to do? What's going to be your job? What's going to be your family, your kids? You're this. There's all this pressure to achieve. I'm an overachiever. So I never felt the pressure because I always got what I wanted. I'm very blessed that I have a very great brain and a very great body. And I managed to do the things I wanted to do. So I'm very lucky on that front. But I also have set goals for myself of what I want to do, you know? One of those goals when we started doing our shows and our drag shows was we started in the Montreal Fringe and we want to go to the Edinburgh Fringe. Now we've been twice, and we got invited for a 3rd time. And we are also taking part in the Montreal Fringe as hosts. And so that I've accomplished. And then I was like, oh, I want to build my own horror show. And I did Coven, and I've sold out every edition I've done, and it's been absolutely magical. And then I said, oh, I want to be able to curate spaces for my drag community and everybody around me. And I've done that with my shows. But now I'm also artistic director at Bottle Cocktail. So like, everything that I've wanted to do, I've done it. But also, growing up, people always ask me, what are you going to do in the future? And I always said, I don't care as long as I get to do something that has an impact in the world. I just knew that I wanted to do something that could leave some ripples in the pond of life. If you're only listening, we're moving the water in the ball pit, which is just the blue balls. The blue balls.
Don't say blue balls. First you said coccyx, and now you're saying blue balls? You can't do that.
But yes, I just knew I wanted to do something that could leave some good in the world, do something. I wanted to do something that was impactful. And I get to do that by doing drag and picking up a microphone and saying things that need to be said and inspiring people and just sharing joy. I get to do that. So I feel absolutely fantastic right now because I've done what I wanted to do in the way I wanted to do it. And that brings me the utmost joy. And I think it's important to underline those moments and appreciate them and feel them because that is success to me. That's what success is. It's not being a millionaire. It's not doing this. For me, success is living my life authentically and finding joy in it. And I get to do that right now every day. So I feel so incredible.
Yay! I think that's lovely. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Listen, you know what? You'll have been doing this, when this comes out, you'll have been doing this for a little while.
Yeah.
For
a couple weeks.
Yeah. I still think that it's worth bringing up again, and I still think that it's worth congratulating you again because I'm very proud of you. You do work incredibly hard, and this is a really big accomplishment. And I think that one of the things that has been really cool, we never knew that this was going to happen.
No.
This all kind of sprung up very quickly, very suddenly, very, very fortuitously.
Yeah.
But we never thought that this was going to happen.
This is not something I was making my way to happen. I was not je manigançais pas ça. It happened because things fell into a place a certain way and people trusted me and that was great. But yeah.
So I think that if we had dreamed about it, then yes, we kind of would have dreamed up a wonderful response and the kind of reaction that we would get from our community here in Montreal, in the drag community and the theater community and our friends and everything. We would have dreamed up a really great response. But actually getting to live it and having people come up to me, even when you're not around, and having them tell me how happy they are for you and how excited they are because they trust you and they're excited to see what ideas you have. And I just think I'm just so happy and I'm so proud. And I'm gonna say this now. This is a PSA for the population at large.
That means you.
That means you. We are two different people. And so
we are in the primordial soup right now. What do you mean?
Yes. But we are two different people. Selma is the artistic director, and I'm just there to be pretty.
Well, no, you're the artistic director of House of Gahd.
House of Gahd.
We're
yes.
two artistic directors are arting together.
Two artistic directors in a hot tub. 2 feet apart because they are gay.
We have to do it again.
Wait, are we going to move?
No. Oh, we just have to do it again. Ready?
Yes.
Two
artistic directors in a hot tub. 2 feet apart because they are gay. So I am not the artistic director at Bar Le Cocktail.
You are one of the regular hosts, though.
Yes, I am one of the regular hosts, but all of the power, all of the decision making, all the great ideas, all of the hard work, it's all Selma. And I just want to make sure that she gets the love that she deserves for it because, I have had a lot of really wonderful success in my career thanks to you. And so now I want you to get your shine.
Thank you.
So there you go. So everyone give it up for Selma Gahd.
Thank you. So yes, you know what? Let's dive into it then. I think that's a good vibe now to go into our advice giving. But there is a disclaimer.
Yes. Oh God, she's drowning me.
This advice is not done by professionals of any advice-giving professions. We are drag artists. This advice is for entertainment purposes only. Do not sue us. Thank you so much. Uma, is there too many bubbles in the bath?
This is it. This is where I live now. Hello?
Let me help.
Hello?
Let me help you out.
No, you can't help someone who's drowning. They're going to pull you down with them.
Well, the thing is, I'm touching the bottom, so I think I should be fine.
But I'm so petite that I'm not touching the bottom.
That's why I was offering to help you.
Physics is wild.
Okay, Uma.
All right, so now we're going to get into our advice. So I again chose...
There's a ball stuck in my pit.
There's a ball in your pit?
Yep. Just one.
You said ball pit? Bet.
Okay.
So I chose the questions again this week.
Yes.
Because when we're picking our questions, sometimes we try to see if there's some that kind of like fit together so we can make
A little thematic.
a little thematic. This one, I was worried that they would all be too similar, but at the same time, I feel like if we answered them in another episode individually, it would kind of be like the same advice over and over.
Whereas here we will be nuanced because they're in the same episode.
Exactly.
You're so smart.
Don't tell anyone. I have a reputation to uphold.
Okay, so what's the appetizer question?
All right, so for our appetizer, we're going to start with Dear Gahd, imposter syndrome?
Oh, that's the whole thing. Okay.
That's literally the entire thing.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Imposter syndrome is when you feel, just in case people don't know what it is, imposter syndrome is when you feel like you are not adequate to do what needs to be done. For example, you don't have the competencies to do the job, or you're not the right person to be chosen, or your skills are a lie, or they've been exaggerated.
You think that everything that you've accomplished is by luck or by pity or by extenuating circumstances. It's never that you deserve it because you're great at what you do and people want you there.
So, imposter syndrome, question mark. Listen, I never feel imposter syndrome. It's not that I'm better than you. It's not that I'm smarter than you. It's that I am more confident than a lot of people. I navigate this world that we live in knowing what my capacities are and understanding what my limits are. So therefore, I know what I'm good at. I know what I can accomplish. And if I'm not sure about something, I have no problem saying, I'm not sure, but I can do this. I'm not sure, but I can try that. I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong or admitting when it's above my skills or admitting, but it also doesn't stop me from trying. It doesn't stop me from doing. It doesn't stop me from accomplishing. Just because I don't have the skills or the knowledge today does not mean that I can't accomplish or do the thing. Again, as I said in the last episode, I'm not talking about heart surgery here. There's certain things that do require perfect skills.
Yeah, if you don't know how to do heart surgery, please don't do it.
Please don't do it.
And if you do know how, please do it right.
Yes. But this advice goes for like general life purposes, I think imposter syndrome is completely useless. So if you're feeling it, you honestly just need to stop. There's not a million ways to go about this. There's not like, you can't just like, oh, well, I think that, no. You just literally need to tell your brain when it happens, go, why am I feeling this way? This is ridiculous.
This actually, it ties in a little bit to what we were talking about in the last episode with, this is, the people who feel imposter syndrome probably aren't imposters, because imposters either know that they are not good enough and are faking. That's what the real imposter is. Or they are imposters who think that they are the best. So they're either delusional or they're devious.
Yeah.
If you are neither one of those things, if you are sincerely doubting yourself, then you're probably fine, because the Dunder-Mifflin effect. But Dunning-Kruger. The Dunning-Kruger effect means that the people who believe that they are the best the people who know the least think that they know the most.
Yes.
The people that have the least experience or education think that they would do the best in a scenario. So if you ask your average person and you say, could you land an airplane if the pilot passed out? The people with the Dunning-Kruger effect are the ones that are like, of course, I've played all these video games, and I watched that movie the one time, and I've done a flight simulator at the amusement park. And they think that leads them to believe that they are significantly more qualified than they actually are. So those are the people who think Of course I deserve everything I have. Of course I'm the best. The people who are sitting there having imposter syndrome, you're probably not overestimating your own skills.
Yeah. And I do have to say, too, when it comes to all of this, imposter syndrome can happen in a very nuanced way. Some people, it's very like everything they do, they feel like they don't deserve to be there and they're not good enough. And like, that's a whole personality thing that you just need to stop. Like, there's not, like I said, there's not a million ways for me to say this.
Cut that shit out.
Literally, though, because it serves nobody. Yes, you have to be honest with not knowing certain things, but you also have to be comfortable with not knowing everything and still doing a great job. Like, like, for example, if the plane was crashing and nobody on the plane knew how to land it, who's the next best person to do it? Probably someone who's not going to panic. So your best person in that situation is going to be someone like me who is confident. No, but like for real. No, but for real.
That best person is probably someone like me.
But this is the thing. This is why I say I don't suffer from imposter syndrome. Because I don't think I know more about landing a plane than someone else. But if literally nobody on the plane knows how to do it, like literally nobody, like the stewardess, literally nobody knows how to do it. And like, I'm going to say that the stewardesses.
The flight attendant.
Yeah, sorry. All the flight staff are also passed out because they are obviously the next best choice because they're trained. But I'm just saying, if literally there's nobody that's on the aircraft that it knows how to operate a plane is there, you need somebody who can not panic. That's the first thing. Then someone who can problem solve quickly and efficiently and is not scared of making decisions. You have to I don't know how to fly a plane, but I have these other skills that are going to serve us well. So your imposter syndrome, if I had imposter syndrome in this situation, like it's an extreme scenario, but if I went, oh, well, I'm not the best person, I did nothing, we're all dead. Okay? We're all dead. But if one of us goes, you know what? I don't know how to land a plane, but I know how to, you know what? There's a radio in there. Let's figure out how that works, and let's talk to somebody and they can give me instructions and I can stay calm enough to listen to them and do what they tell me to do. Someone needs to step up. So if we're all there going, oh no, imposter syndrome, it doesn't help anybody. There we go. I said it.
And do you want to argue with that?
You have to balance the delusion and the confidence with facts.
I have nothing to say.
And not just because I'm pinching her underwater. But I think like, of course, this is an extreme example, but I think it exemplifies what I'm talking about very clearly. There we go.
Well, that's that on that, folks. So now we're going to move on to our main course.
The meat and potatoes, or the tofurkey, or whatever you prefer as your main source of protein or nutrients.
Yes, if you're one of those people that, like, you want to drink all of your nutrients instead of
that's
eating.
So sad.
You know what? They are valid.
I know, but food is so delicious.
That is true.
Yeah, okay, anyways. What's the main course?
So, for our nutritional sludge, what should I do when I know someone is lying? Dun, dun, dun!
Ooh. I want to give two scenarios for our answers, okay? And I'll let you go first, though.
Oh, okay.
Because I just gave a very passionate plea for my case on the last question. There's two things here about people lying. One, do we care about these people? That's one scenario. We don't care or we care, because it's a very different scenario if someone's lying and you just don't care about them. Like if a stranger on the street is like, I know that, and they give you their opinion on something and they like, it's a fact. I don't really care about this person. I'm not going to react the same way.
You know what? Okay, so wait, let's deal with that.
Oh, let's deal with that. So we don't care.
We don't care that they're lying, because whatever they're lying about doesn't impact the world in any meaningful way or whatever. You have to realize that we are drag queens.
What?
I know. And in the world of drag...
It actually might be shocking for people that are just listening.
So for those of you that are just listening, we're drag queens. If you would like to see how beautiful we look, because we are in a beautiful set here at Le Same Hotel, and we did get ourselves all dressed up in our Brooke Alviano beachwear. Ooh. If you want to see how gorgeous we look, you can find us on the YouTube. But if you're just listening, we are drag queens. And the thing about drag artists is that a lot of them are delusional.
Yes.
A lot of them are liars.
Yes.
A lot of them are cuckoo banana pants, just crazy people, okay?
Yes. In both the worst and best ways.
Yeah. Sometimes it's fun.
Yeah.
We love a little fantasy, but sometimes you'll hear a drag artist say something that you know is patently untrue. Oh my God, I got this lipstick from an exclusive brand that charges $16,000 per tube of lipstick, but they gave it to me for free. But like, they told me not to tell anyone that that's what I'm using, but I'm being but then they gave me $3,000 not to tell. You're lying.
That's not how that works.
That's not how that works. You're lying, and we know. But does anyone care? No.
Does it impact anybody?
No. Is it worth the struggle that you would have to go through to convince them that you know that they're lying and that there's no way out, and then you prove them wrong, and then they argue with you, and they try to save face, and then they feel bad, and then they're going to be mad at you after because you made them look silly, and a blah, 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 blah. We often are faced with a scenario like that, and it's nonsense, and we go, love that for you. And that's the end of it. It's not worth confronting somebody on a lie that just does not mean anything.
And this goes for like work or family, anything too. If they're lying about stuff that doesn't matter, or they're like, at some point you have to choose your energy. Like, where is it worth putting your energy into this? Do you actually care? Is it worth your time? And if it's not, just whatever. Just honestly, it doesn't matter. Just let it go. Like, let it go.
Let it go.
Stop, we're going to be copywritten.
Because I sound just like her.
Just like her. But for real.
Adina. No, what was her name?
What are you talking about?
Adele Dazeem.
There we go. But for real, sometimes you just have to, when you know someone's lying, you just have to learn to let go. Because it doesn't matter. So that's if we don't care about the person or the situation or the lie.
So let's pretend that we care about other people.
Let's pretend this is someone we care about, or that the situation they're lying about is important, or it has impact on other people, or like it's actually a big deal that this lie is happening, right?
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? Well, it's going to depend on the situation. I think for once I'm going to be nuanced, because sometimes people lie out of maliciousness. And sometimes people lie because they're uncomfortable, or they feel unsafe, or they just don't know better. There's different reasons that people lie. And sometimes it's just a mistake.
And sometimes they're just dumb. Like, they're just dumb people doing dumb things.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I think if someone is lying about something really important, that's a big deal, and they are being a malicious person, the best way to deal with it is come with facts and don't bring anything else up. This is something I'm going to tell you as someone who worked in customer service for a very long time, who was in charge of customer service for a chain, who was like the last person. I was the final boss of customer service, okay? The less you say to somebody, the less ammunition you're giving them to argue with you.
Which is why I can't be bothered to lie or to argue with people, because in either scenario,
you're talking.
I'm talking and I'm just digging my own grave.
Yes. So when someone is lying about something that's a big deal and you want to call them out on it, you want to rectify a situation, you want to clarify a situation, you don't need to be dramatic. You can if you want, but you don't need to be dramatic. You don't need to do the whole theatrics. But what you need to do is you need to be firm and you need to be fact-based. You need to look at them in the eye, or if it's by email, look at them virtually with consent.
You look at them in the webcam.
Yeah. But you have to look at these people and just tell them, like, actually, that's wrong, and here's why. And present nothing except the fact. No nuances, no ifs and buts, no additional, you just say, actually, that is wrong. Here's the information. Or like, as I said in my last email, this is what we're talking about right now. And you don't bring anything, and if they try to detract with anything else, you bring it back to just this one thing, to its simplest core value, and you deal with that. And you can tell them, we can talk about everything else after, but first we're going to rectify this one thing because it is impactful to everything else that's happening. So if someone is lying about something big and you need to rectify it, you deal with that one thing, remove all distractions, and go back to the bare bone facts and go, actually, this is wrong and this is why.
Because we do have to remember that, like, a lie Especially when we say lying, I'm not talking about people that are convinced of something incorrectly.
No.
That's not the same. I'm talking about an act of like a choice to say something that is untrue.
Yeah.
It's based in fact. It's a factual thing. So yeah, if you bring in, I felt, and well, you could consider, and in another scenario, and none of that is relevant because you're talking about facts. Is it raining or is it not?
Yeah.
You know, you can get into the gray area of like, well, it's spitting, but like, okay, but that's still a type of rain.
It's still rain. Exactly.
And you say, there is water falling from the sky that is not frozen, it's raining.
So yeah, deal with the facts, and you can talk about the emotions and the nuances and the ifs and the buts and the whys. You can talk about all those things after you rectify the lie.
And then what are we going to do?
So that's the first step if someone's lying about something that's big or impactful that you need to do something about. The other part of this is sometimes people lie, but it's a mistake. They lie because they misunderstood something, and they believe it because we all perceive reality differently. We all have a different experience of what's happening around us. And someone might be lying because you saw this or you heard that but then it becomes a lie that's tainted by feelings and experience. So sometimes we have to have a little bit of compassion for each other and understand that the person is maybe not being malicious. Maybe the way that they saw it or what happened to them, maybe something else happened right before that impacted how they said something or saw something or did something. So sometimes if you know someone is lying, maybe just ask a couple questions.
Because, like, if we can put this in a drag scenario, Laganja, I feel very attacked right now. Nobody was coming for her in that moment, apparently. But she felt attacked. She was lying because nobody was coming at her in that moment. But their behavior was coming in a successive line of other behaviors. So in that moment, yes, truthfully, she felt attacked. But it wasn't actually happening there. She was perceiving it that way. She felt that way. The things that people were saying fit into the category of the things that they said previously, and so blah, blah. She wasn't trying to lie. She wasn't like, oh, girl, we're going to start some drama today. That's not what was happening. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Does anyone know what I mean?
But yeah, so what do you do when someone's lying? Again, it depends. Is it important? Is it not important? Do we care? Do we not care? Those are like, my brain is listen, my brain works like an Excel sheet. Everything is color coded and, sorry, let me clarify. My brain works like an Excel sheet done by someone that understands Excel.
Like a properly formatted Excel sheet, because you don't want me in Excel.
Everything's automated. There's macros, there's colors, there's sheets, there's communication, there's all kinds of stuff happening. But I always go and categorize everything because it makes it easier to deal with. I find that if you're someone, listen, I'm not a very emotional, everybody's emotional. Everybody responds to the world they live in. I'm just saying, when I look at problems, I always approach them through logic first, right? So it helps, I find, to just categorize everything, go like, is this what's happening or is that what's happening? And once you know that part, it's easier to take your next step. It's easier to be like, okay, I don't think this person's being malicious, so maybe I can ask a couple of clarifying questions because maybe it's a misunderstanding. Or maybe they're saying a truth about a part of it and the other part they just got wrong. And we just need to clarify that and we're all going to be on the same page. Or maybe they're just a nasty frickin' person. I need to tell them, I hate you. That happens sometimes.
I mean, it is true because, again, and this kind of is related to the first point of like, do you care if they're lying? Is it important? Is it somebody who does this all the time? You know, are they a liar? Do they make stuff up? Are they telling tall tales?
And again, telling tall tales, is it a big deal? If they're like, I caught a fish that was so big and it really wasn't that big, does that really matter?
Exactly. That's when you go like, okay, girl, like I know that you caught a fish probably, and so like I'm happy for you and it felt that big, so good for you. Your feelings are valid.
Yeah.
But if this is somebody who's lying to you...
I just want to say, we included straight people in our podcast. We talked about them catching fish. Look at us.
This is us reaching out to the straight community.
Thank you.
And acknowledging the value of your culture.
And holding space.
And holding space.
Sorry. I just realized that. People got angry at me online because of a viral clip thinking I hate straight people, but I don't. I just hate ignorant people. Okay. What were you saying?
So, it is somebody that is lying frequently in a way that becomes like more work than it's worth. Again, that's what I always come back to is like, is it worth calling it out? Because if even if it's a little lie that doesn't really matter on its own, if everything they say makes you go, then yeah, at some point you want to just let them know, like, honey, I think that you don't need to exaggerate around me. You know, I think, because that's a lie that comes up a lot, is like an exaggeration where people are like, oh, well, you know, the fish was 7 feet long, or like, you know, oh, I just worked 27 hours today. Or, you know, like,
they're just dumb.
Yeah, well, listen,
You did.
I only said it one time. No.
Yeah.
But like, if they're constantly doing this, you can just look at them and be like, listen, I sometimes get the feeling that when you're telling me these stories, like, they feel like that you're exaggerating, and I want you to know that you don't have to do that with me. Like, you don't have to exaggerate. I love the story that you're telling me. I love that you're telling me all about these wonderful things that you're doing.
It's already incredible.
It's already incredible. You're already incredible. You don't have to lie. Or you
don't have to embellish.
You don't have to exaggerate.
Yeah, because if you tell them they're a liar, they're like, I'm not lying, and then you start a whole fight. It's not necessary.
Yes.
You just tell them, like, hey, like, I'm going to be impressed no matter how big your fish was.
But like, you can tell them that, and then that's the sort of thing where, again, like, you've put in as much work as you think is necessary, and then if they keep doing it, then you get to make that decision of like, okay, do we continue, or do I just kind of like go, you know what, I'm just not going to listen anymore when you talk. I'm going to leave the room. I'm going to go start another conversation. I'm not interested in your exaggerations. Like, these are for little lies that kind of, because most of us are most often dealing with people who are telling white lies. We're not dealing with people that are like, you know, stealing money from you. We're not dealing with an agent that is saying like, no, they never sent us the money, and then it's because they never gave it to you. You know, like, that's not what we're dealing with in general.
Uma, I have to admit something. I forgot what a white lie was for 2 seconds. I was like, no, white people are disgusting. I was like, a white lie is saying that slavery didn't happen. I was like, that's horrible. My brain forgot what I was thinking in French for like half a second, and I was like, what?
I say this with love.
Like, it legitimately, like, I was like,
and she was like, she's being so casual about like excusing it. No, that's not what's happening.
I'm sorry, folks.
So what do we do? Let's you know what? Let's say for the last part of this.
Wait, no. There's one tiny nuance. No. It's super important. It's super important. Is it super important? Super important.
Okay.
If this is about work, I want to make sure y'all keep your jobs if you want to keep them. If someone is lying at work and it's causing you grief, whether it's your boss or a coworker, I have some very important advice. And this is whether you're freelance or working in a corporation or whatever it is. When you are confronted with a liar, they will often try to tell you things in meetings in person. Because that way, there's no witnesses, there is no writing, there's nothing to call them back on it. And this is a tactic they'll always do. They'll tell you, well, no, I told you in the meeting, but then it's never written anywhere. There's no track of it. There's no nothing. So when you're confronted with someone who's a liar, you always document everything in a public way. So what I mean by that is something that is traceable, that you both have agreed on.
So you always get everything in writing,
but in a way that they said, yes, this is what happened. You have to have, so what, an example, you have a meeting with them, and because they insist on meeting in person, because they will, you say, okay, I will confirm all these details with you by email. Let me know that I got it all right. Basically, you want to make sure that you send them the email that says, here's the things we talked about. Please let me know that everything's correct in the email. Because that way they have to answer you, and there's proof that they read what you said. And later on, they say, well, no, I meant that. And I said, and I said it, and they said it. They can't do that because it's in writing, and they responded to you saying, yes, this is correct, or, oh, please modify this or do that. So that way you're for sure both on the same page, metaphorically and electronically, and you're ensuring that you have track of everything that happened. And the same thing if it's your boss, same thing if it's your coworker, no, doesn't matter what it is. You keep track of it in a place that you both responded to.
It's like when you go to the doctor and they tell you that they're refusing treatment, and you tell them, all right, I want you to write that down in my file. I want you to write down that you are refusing the treatment that I am asking for.
You're refusing the test. You're refusing to check. You need to write it in my file because I will go get a second opinion, and then we will have a discussion if something happens.
Exactly. So you're basically doing the same thing. So, that way you just, if you suspect that someone is lying, try to get it in writing so that way you can defend yourself. Just make sure that you're defending yourself from something that is sincere. Don't start office drama for no reason.
No, but it's the thing. The way I'm talking about, that's the thing. People are scared of doing what I'm saying because they think it's going to start drama, but it's also just professional. What I'm suggesting is the professional way to conduct your business, right? You say we had a meeting. I'm going to write you an email with just so we can recap everything. You don't even need to say because I think you're a liar. You just literally say, I'm going to put it all in writing so we don't forget anything.
Great.
There we go.
So wait, what do we do if someone we know in our life is lying? Is like telling things that are not true and using it in a way that is hurtful, and like, how do we deal with the person? Let's say your brother is telling people that I don't.
So you take a candle and you light it and you put their hand over the fire.
Yeah.
And if they're saying the truth, it won't burn them.
Science.
Please don't do that.
Don't do that.
So what do you do? Again, I find it's leading with compassion if it's someone you care about. Checking in with, ask questions, because sometimes, like I said, they might just not be lying. There might be a reason why it's happening. So just check in first, and then if they are full of poo-poo, you can just tell them like, hey, no. That's my advice. I'm very direct.
I mean, I am lucky enough to have never lived in a scenario where someone's been lying to me in a way that is like that big. That is that like I have to deal with this. Like I've never had that. So I don't even have advice for what to do in that exact scenario. But again, I think that it's weighing how much energy am I going to put into this before it becomes essentially like the end of the road.
Yeah.
How far am I willing to argue with you before I go, girl, get out? Mm-hmm. And I think that is kind of the only thing that I think a lot of people could do. Because then otherwise maybe like, are you getting into like, well, then we're going to pull up mom and dad's will and we're going to see what they say and we're going to get the police report. And that's a whole other level. But otherwise, I think it is one of those things where you just have to be honest with yourself about how far you're willing to argue with someone. How much energy are you willing to put in before you just have to say to them, like, you're lying to me and I don't care anymore.
Yep.
Like, get out. Like, in the sense of like, I don't care enough to continue this dance. It's over.
Yep.
So I think that's what I would say. But you know what? If you've lived through a scenario without giving us the evil nitty gritty details for legal reasons,
don't put your address on the comments on YouTube.
Yeah, you don't need to, like if you've had someone who was a big time liar and you really had to just end it and you needed to deal with it, what did you do?
If it's murder, don't tell us on the podcast comments either.
Yeah, don't tell us.
You just tell them if they had to end it.
Remember when we were telling you about the liar who gets their lies documented and then that's what you can use against them? Don't put your illegal dalliances on the internet.
There we go. I think there was some very good advice in there.
I think so.
And again, because we don't have the whole situation, I hope this was helpful to you. And if it was not, feel free to send us a follow-up question. If you're like, if like what we said didn't quite apply to you, because the question was a little bit vague. So I hope it answered, but if it didn't, please feel free to send up a follow-up. It's still going to be anonymous. Say, hey, I'm the person from last time. Anybody that we didn't answer fully and you want more nuances, please feel free to let us know. We might follow up.
There you go. All right, so now it's time for our dessert. Now, I think it's really interesting. This question is really interesting because Selma sent it in.
No, what? I did not. I didn't send any questions here.
I have no way of knowing this, but this is just the vibe I'm getting.
Okay.
Because this sounds like you. This person wrote, Dear Gahd, I've been told more than once that I always think I'm right. The truth is, I think I usually am. Does that make me obnoxious?
See, I know it's not me because I wouldn't ask if it makes me obnoxious. I'm not lying, though. You know it's true. I would never ask if I'm obnoxious because I don't care.
I'm going to keep throwing these at you.
Okay, listen. As someone who is always right, I have to tell you, keep on doing you, honey.
No, shut up. Shut up. No, absolutely not.
Okay, listen. No. For real, though. I am often right because, like I said, I am confident, and if I am wrong, I have no problem saying I am wrong. But someone has to prove that I'm wrong first. Otherwise, I'm going to be convinced that I'm right, and I'm just going to keep moving forward in that direction because that's life. I'm not going to be like, oh, I don't know. I'll wait and find out. If someone tells me, hey, actually, Selma, you got it wrong, here's why, I'll go, oh, okay, and then adjust. That's fine. But I think that's the key there. If you're someone who is always right and you think that you're always right, how often does it happen that I'm right, though?
Sorry, no, keep talking.
Exactly. She's acting as if it's not true, however, but for real, if you're in that situation, I think what you need to keep in mind is that if people do bring you facts, again, it ties into what we were talking about before. People come to you with facts. You need to take a moment to listen to those facts and go, oh, okay. And the fact for me where I fail often is I'm bad at emotions. I'm bad at other people's emotions. I'm great with mine. So for me, the part that I have a hard time with is when someone brings forth a fact about their feelings, because that to me is two things that conflict. Feelings and facts don't happen together in my heart and in my head, but for most humans, they do happen together. So yes, that's the thing I need to work on as someone who's always right, is that acknowledging that both of us can be right and both of us can be wrong sometimes. Right, Uma?
I'm glad that you heard when I said that the last time I said that.
But I am someone who's right about a lot of things because I do have a lot of knowledge and I'm very confident and I don't speak up unless I think I know the right answer. So that makes me more right because the rest of the time I just don't say anything because it's none of my business. So statistically, it makes me more correct more often. Facts are facts.
So, as someone who has to live with someone who always thinks that they are right.
Who's always right.
Yes, Selma is right a lot of the time. She's very smart. She's very well educated. She's also very wise and clever. So she's got all of the kinds of intelligence that you could ask for from a person. She's got pretty much all of them in spades. So yes, she often is right. The issue for the other person, I'm speaking to the person who asked this question.
Is to give you perspective.
Yes.
That I can't.
to kind of see how it feels from the other side. You literally just said, statistically, I am blah, blah. Most humans are not computers. And so we don't give a shit about statistics. All right? So the reason I'm saying this is because, yes, if you are often right, it's probably going to make you more confident. But sometimes that confidence blinds you to the fact that you are not right, or that you are not 100% right, or that you are not the only one who is right.
That there are multiple solutions to the problem.
Yes, there's multiple solutions, there's multiple points of view, there's multiple truths happening in any scenario. So the fact that you are often right leads you to believe that means that you are always right, which means that everyone else is wrong. No, that's not actually always true. So maybe you're wrong. So the reason I'm saying it's just because it becomes kind of it becomes exhausting dealing with someone who is or perceives themselves to be, quote unquote, always right can become exhausting from our side, from the outside, because it always feels like you're arguing with someone that's not listening. But on the other side, I'm also going to point out that this is something that I have told you about, Selma. And we were literally just saying this about the people who lie. Is it worth arguing? Is it worth being right? Because sometimes, yeah, maybe somebody is like factually like incorrect in a vague way that like if you look into it, then yeah. But then what they're saying, the point of what they're saying, the broader picture of what they're saying, it's essentially irrelevant. And so they're not wrong. And you have to ask yourself, is it worth arguing in this moment? Do I need to let them know that I'm right and they're wrong when I know how you feel. I know how you. Sorry, she's having a hard time because it's almost like this is something that we live with. But sometimes it's not worth.
I agree with you. I understand that logically, and the thing is, for me and probably other people who potentially.
Other people who have been suspected of liking trains.
It's not even that I want to be right or that I want to prove someone else wrong. Is that for my brain to be able to process the information or the situation, I need to understand the facts. I need to have all of the information, and it's really hard for me to be like, I understand what you're saying is logically correct. It's logically sound, that it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. It's not going to change anything. I understand that logically, but emotionally for me, that causes dysregulation, which makes it very difficult to let that go. As ridiculous as that sounds, it's not even a choice. My body just goes, and I have such a hard time. I'm learning, and we do have to learn. So if the person who wrote this is listening, I hope you are. We do have to do better, even if we are right, and even when we're not right. Something like Uma just said, is it really worth putting the other person through that? Because your need for that information and your need for that correctness should not supersede someone else's emotional well-being. And I think that's where the problem comes in.
And that the emotional well-being doesn't even have to be about the thing that you're about, like
No.
the facts of what you're about to argue. It's getting yourself into another argument where you're trying to prove that you're right, and that is the emotional.
Yeah.
That is the emotional thing that you have to consider. Not, oh, well, they're telling me a story about a movie and they're wrong about the year that it was filmed. Well, no, there's no emotional investment in what year this movie was filmed, but there is going to be an emotional investment in having another argument about something that is largely inconsequential.
Yeah, they weren't trying to answer trivia on Jeopardy here. They were just making a conversation about the movie, and you all of a sudden are like, well, actually, the movie was this year. It doesn't matter what the story they're telling you right now.
Like, people will say, I've had this conversation. We were talking about favorite divas and diva tracks, and somebody said my favorite Y2K song is It's Not Right, But It's Okay by Whitney Houston. Factually, that song was released in 1999. That means that it is not a Y2K song because it was before the year 2000. The remix came out later. The song was trending well into 2001. So, is it worth it to argue and let them know, well, actually, that song came out in 1999?
Yeah, is that important?
And is that actually the cutoff for Y2K? Because, like, we talked about Y2K in 1999. So
a lot.
So then are we getting into a new argument? And is it worth it? And this is what I mean.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might be factually right, but it's irrelevant. And so you have to kind of weigh that. And then the other thing is, like I was saying, and that you brought up as well, is that sometimes there is more than one perspective. There's more than one solution. There's more than one, there's more than one point that is right in any given situation. You're right that the song was released in 1999, but you're right that the song was impactful in 2000.
Yep.
And so maybe you're both right.
And maybe you don't need to bring it up.
And maybe you don't need to argue about it. You don't. So yes, you might be obnoxious. You might be obnoxious. And this is why I wanted to bring this point up.
There we go.
Is that the obnoxious part of being right all the time is when you don't consider the other person's value and the value of your rightness. You don't weigh them in a way that like makes people like being around you.
There we go. That's beautifully said. No, but that is the fact, because maybe you are always right because you're a super genius. It doesn't mean that you're making other people feel like being around you.
Exactly. So you know what? So you might always be right, and that's neither here nor there. But if you're worried about being obnoxious, that's the thing. These are the things that you want to think about: is how much is it worth arguing about it? How much is it worth you pointing out to people that you're right?
Does it have an impact even?
And how much do you care about the other person being corrected? And all of those things you might still, like Selma said, it's real hard for her to not care, but sometimes it is not worth it.
Yeah, you just have to learn to stop your brain.
Or you have to find a way of kind of like bringing it into the conversation that doesn't make the person feel like you're being condescending or you're arguing with them.
As someone who has this issue, don't bring it up. Just don't. What Uma's saying is for people that are not having a difficulty with this. If you're someone who's struggling with this, just let it go. And eventually, once you've learned to do that enough, then you can do what Uma just said. But until then, you're not going to have the nuanced take to do this, because you're going to say, well, I tried to do it. I tried to bring it up in a positive way and you still got insulted. Just don't. Everybody else that is like, more neurotypical in that sense, sure. You, the person who wrote this, don't do that.
So again, if you are right, because the other person is about to perform a heart surgery and they're doing it wrong and you're right, please tell them.
Yep.
Please tell them right away. And please be forceful and condescending and rude as much as you need to make sure that they are doing heart surgery correctly. But if it's not about heart surgery, then like,
let it go.
Don't do it. You sound just like her.
No, I don't.
Adele Dazeem. So there you go, folks. As you can see, there was a lot of overlapping in this episode. So I feel
felt like a personal attack. I will contact my lawyers.
You are your lawyer.
I know.
So I'm gonna contact my lawyer, and they can argue with themselves.
Thank you for your really thoughtful questions, everybody. If you would like to ask us a question, get some advice from your drag aunties, you can head over to our website, houseofgahd.com, House of God, G-A.
HD, like high definition.
And on our website, you'll also find all of our bookings, our merch, and everything else you could potentially want. There's the link to our YouTube channel with all the episodes and other videos that we have, as well as a way to just listen to the podcast directly on the website.
And if you would like to send in your own anonymous questions, if you need advice, if you want to tell us about your most embarrassing moment, if you just want to ask a really silly question to see how seriously we can answer, send them in on the anonymous form on houseofgod.com. Thank you so much to everybody for listening and watching, for being here with us at Le Saint Motel here in Montreal.
Our official sponsor.
Our official sponsor who makes all of these wonderful videos possible. Check them out online. Their Instagram is poppin', yo. And we will see you again very soon with more news, more advice, and more shenanigans. I'm Uma Gahd.
And I'm Selma Gahd.
We love you. God bless.